We're going to send them back to this. All right, we are officially live, Joe. How you doing this morning?
Great, thanks. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. Like I'm super excited for our first live of three for CEO habits, like how to build momentum. I think for a lot of people, this is going to change some lives. What do you
Well, we
think?
hope so. We want to work on whatever we put out. We definitely want to work with people and we want to help them long term.
Absolutely. Like I think like when I think of like building momentum, I just think about like not burning out. Because a part of me is like, well, hey, if I want to burn out, I know how to do that. That part is actually relatively easy, right? And so
Absolutely.
we got Glovisor in the room. Looking forward to the live event today. Yay!
Excellent. All right. All right. Well, you know what? Let me introduce myself. So that way we can start off there since this is like session one of the CEO
Mhm.
habits conversation. But today, session one is CEO habits that drive momentum. So, my name is Joe Abreu, and I am the founder of Glovisor and also the author of the Profit Optimization Program, which is turned out to be a book and then also an online course in English and Spanish. And we help business owners really develop themselves and then personally and then also improve the business because the two work very closely together. Most people think that sometimes you could just have to be a business coach and only deal with businesses and then or you have to be a personal coach and just deal with the individual. In reality, you sort of have to blend the two because a lot of times companies and organizations are a reflection of the individuals that are managing those organizations. So that's what we're doing today, talking a little bit more about the CEO habits and how that can improve. And Tarletta, tell us about you.
Absolutely. So I tell people I build engines. So I build business systems engines. So what that means is that if you think of your business as a car, basically your car has a lot of great parts to it, but nothing really matters more than the engine that keeps it running. So everything in your business, your marketing, your sales, your onboarding, your customer retention, your administration, your finance, all of those things are built into your business. And I help fix all of those systems so that when you are looking to get new clients, looking to convert new clients, looking to retain new clients, I work with business owners hand in hand. So, founders, creators, and operators like myself to actually find the systems, fix the systems, get rid of the bottlenecks, and be able to grow their businesses a lot easier. And
Awesome. I
so,
tell you, let me just tell you that the first time that I heard something about mechanics in attached to you, I thought this is strange because she looks nothing like my car mechanic, nothing at all. And
yeah,
I
I don't
thought,
like being dirty.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was so strange. And I'm like, this is like, I don't know, this doesn't connect. But then I started to listen to you in the offers and the things that you do. And I
Mhm.
said, wow, she is a mechanic, but in a different kind of way. And it all made sense. So I think that
Absolutely.
was a good play on marketing and why you're the marketing mechanic.
It's why I'm the marketing mechanic. And so I've had the joy of working with so many different business owners and just honestly seeing burnout firsthand. Like, people like I myself personally, like I've said this before, momentum is hard for me. Like it takes a lot. And like, I recently found the hack that works for me.
Hmm.
And that was like just human design. But for a lot of times I would often I would dedicate myself to something and I'm good. Like I can go strong, do the whole thing like flawlessly for like 3 weeks. And then as soon as that was over, I was dead. Like I'm done for the rest of the year. This has no longer important. Totally just not going to do this anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of that, right? Like we have to start filtering out what's really important. Like that old saying
Absolutely.
was like, keep the main thing, and then just focus on those things that are the important things, but the real important things, right?
Absolutely. All right. So, Joe, I am looking right now, and it looks like before we get started, that for some reason, the Zoom has not I'm sorry, not the Zoom, the live event has not started on LinkedIn. So, let's do a little bit of troubleshooting.
Oh boy.
And so, on
Okay.
your side, is there a button to hit go live?
So let's go ahead and do that right now because we don't want to miss all of those people that we signed up for the events. So working on that right now.
Awesomeness.
Yeah. So I'm there now.
I am I am relatively new to shared events on LinkedIn.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And I am going through it now. Let's see. I'm going to go through join, see if that makes a difference. It
Let's
says
see.
starting soon
Yep.
on my side.
So do you have a manage button by chance?
Let's go ahead and go there.
If you go back.
We go to manage. I have manage attendees, cancel and delete.
All right. So how do you actually start the live stream on
Hmm.
LinkedIn? That is our question for today.
So yeah, so I think that's it. We're working with a whole bunch of other things, right, at the same time.
So it
Um,
says pre-live on the piece, and so I'm just like, okay, so where does it go?
right.
Well, the joy is that what we can do. So what I'd like, what I want to do for the people who want to be with us and cannot seem to get through, I want to add the YouTube link for this.
Yes. Do
All
you have
right,
the link there so we can send that over as
I
well?
do, and I will go ahead and add it to the comments inside of the LinkedIn group since that is becoming a whole different thing.
Oh yeah, and I can see it. It's on live on Facebook right now.
Yay! Hi, Facebook.
Right. Excellent. All right. So we're clicking through. But anyways, all right. So you see, so here are some of the things that habits actually build the momentum, right? They actually work on it. And sometimes a wrench is going to come right in the way, right? And just stop our
Right.
momentum. So this is a lot of what we were going to talk about today.
Yep, those things that cause friction. How do you overcome those things that cause friction? How do you create systems that keep you one from burning out? But more importantly, that I think a lot of coaches do is that they start to overcompensate. They're like, oh my gosh, I started like 5 minutes late, so I'm going to give all of you free one-on-one sessions. And
Ah,
then they're like, then they're like, I'm like, that may not have been the most aligned way to say I'm sorry. Like
yes.
you just give them like extra value. Stay a little bit later. Of course, you want to respect everyone's time. Maybe you open up the Q&A, or you offer them something that doesn't require a lot of your time. But it's just like, what are you doing to make sure you can keep moving forward? Because the last thing we're going to do today is stop this stream, right?
Of course. No, we got
That's
to
the
go
last thing
right
we're
through
going to do today.
it.
All right.
That's exactly how business is. There's always going to be a challenge. Things are going to happen, and you just have to keep moving forward because you can't stop.
You cannot. And so my question to you, Joe. My question to you, Joe.
Yeah.
Have you ever told yourself, or have you ever been told that all you need is more motivation?
Yeah,
So just get more
absolutely.
motivated.
Yeah, sometimes, right? Like people are just like, yeah, all you got to do is like wake up and just start running and doing stuff and you'll get it done. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, sort of. I guess like you have to be at the right place for the success to happen, but you sometimes there are a lot of other elements, right? And a lot of
right.
habits and things that happen beforehand. It's kind of like that picture, right? Where you have the mountains coming out of the water and they're like, what's really, you only see the tip of it. You don't see everything else that requires to getting you there.
Absolutely. Like I've always looked at motivation as like one of those blanket terms. Like, what the fudge does motivation actually mean? Like, is it something that I have to do for myself by myself? Because the last thing I want to tell myself when I'm tired is you can do this. It does not happen naturally. I don't think for anybody. Like the whole point of wanting to give up is saying like, hey, I can't do this. I don't feel like doing this. And so it's like,
Mhm.
well, just get motivated. And they say, well, if you have a better goal, then you'll get more motivated and that'll be awesome. And I'm like, my goals are intact. I've been tied to my goals for many, many years. And
Yeah.
I enjoy doing all of those wonderful things. And so it's like, well, how do I get motivated? And like, where does that come from? And I used to think that it was such a horrible, horrible thing that I couldn't get motivated. I would often start to blame myself, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, you start to think that it's like you internalize it. You think it's just everything has to do with you.
Right. And so,
Hmm.
and then when you start thinking that way, you enter into what I call like these start stop cycles or these stop start cycles. depending on who you are, you end up in one or the other. I'm a start stop person. Like I will start, I will go 100 miles a minute, and then I will stop, and then
Hmm.
I spend the rest of the month trying to figure out like how to catch up with
Hmm.
myself. Like I could have sworn I was like so far ahead of the curve, and it's like now there's so many other things that I've created for myself to do, and I just don't know how to get into it. And so one of the things I'm really excited about CEO Habits Live coming to Tampa in January is that we're going to be helping people to stop doing that. Like stop the stop start, like stop starting and stopping, stop stopping and get started really. And so what does that look like for you? Like where does that come up for you? Because I know like everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, no, so that's really exciting, right? Because for I can't wait to share this in January to get together and so we can work with individuals and kind of go through
Mhm.
and roll out. Yeah, we have to just roll it out and share. I'm really excited about that, Jay. But for me, I see if it's out, I'm thinking, wow, what did I do? I did do correctly, or maybe
Mhm.
I didn't do and I should have done. Starts like run in my mind, and sometimes you're like, okay, well, what could I have done differently? But you see, that sometimes takes days, right? Meanwhile, you're kind of like in a down slope and you're not feeling well. And yeah, so that's why we want to definitely help others to make sure that they're kind of always moving forward at a minimum on a horizontal,
At
or
minimum, at
upwards.
least make some forward movement. Like there are things, and like I think that we're told constantly, well, it's just a matter of discipline.
Yeah.
Wake up earlier, do more things, grind harder, drink coffee
Mhm.
more often, or do all these things in order to get there. And it's like it doesn't really handle the root issue,
Yeah.
right? And like for me, it just becomes it handles the problem that yes, I have like once I identify that I have a cycle. I have a start stop cycle where I'm constantly going back and forth and doing things. I have to figure out what that loop is and where it's coming from and how to solve for it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so when I'm trying to do that, I look a lot at what are my habits? And I call it habit stacking. Have you ever heard of habit stacking?
No, share it with us, please.
All right, so habit stacking is taking a routine you typically already have. So most of us, depending on how you were raised and what you do, you wake up, you take a shower, you brush your teeth, you put on your clothes, you get your breakfast. Or you eat breakfast and then brush your teeth, depending on where you live in the world, because that makes more sense to me. Like I used to like we used to be younger and we'd wake up in the morning, brush our teeth, and then go to school to eat breakfast. Like, why are we doing this backwards? But you can't brush your teeth at school. So yeah.
Yeah.
But you find an existing habit loop. What is your habit? If as soon as you sit down at your computer, you open your email, if as soon as like what are the things that you do automatically? And I found that when you're able to identify what are those loops that you currently have, you're able to kind of hack them. You're able to add in little progressive things in the middle of those to build on that habit. So if I know that my first habit typically is to sit at my computer and open my email, I might then say, well, open email and open to-do list or something. Or I might just switch out email with to-do list.
Yeah.
And what this does is that it creates these little micro decisions. Like our brains are always working. And so when I'm able to say, okay, my brain doesn't have to think about what happens next. And I think that that's where people get discipline a little wrong. Because like we think that it's just like forcing ourselves to do this thing out of order. But when you put it into something that's already pre-existing, you create that little link to where your brain doesn't have to think about it. You're not convincing yourself that you can do this. It starts to feel natural.
Hmm. So we do it again and again, and that's where the habits come in, right? So
And so
then
that
it
happens
becomes
to me.
second nature.
Right. Because starting a new habit is 10 times harder than changing an existing one. Like, I
Hmm.
don't know about you, but starting a new habit is the hardest part for me. It's why in January I never make a resolution to work out more. It is not a good idea for me. It just does not stick because
Uh-huh.
typically when I think about starting a new habit, I put it in the middle of my day. I decide that I'm going to arbitrarily start this thing and I'll just find time for it somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, and that's coming, and that's coming up soon, right? Like we're all going to start making our list of the habits that we're going to
Yes.
change in January, and and I think that's why we really decided to have this class now in January because really we want to be part of that, right? We want to be able to be part of your journey of
Mhm.
making and changing those habits. So that's why we set it at the beginning of January.
You have to. It's like you want to start off on the right foot, but you also want to start in a way that doesn't disrupt what you're already doing.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're asking for, like, let's even I think about this all the time. Like whenever I do like a 1 day VIP masterclass, because like these people are taking an entire day from their existing lives to stop what they are doing to come and learn to move forward. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very important for us that we are creating a situation that not only makes up for the day that we're taking, but makes every day after that count even more. So how
Mm-hmm.
can we make sure that these 8 hours or these 10 hours, or if you are at the highest level and you're in our inner circle VIP day, how do these 2 days give them everything they need, not only to understand the problem, but to implement the problem and to get better results? Because I know, like, so again, using working out as my example, because I constantly fail at. And so it's like, I can know how to exercise. I know how to swim. I know how to go for a walk. I know how to ride a bike. I can do all of those things. And so if I went to a 1 day webinar that was telling me how to exercise better, I already have a foundational knowledge of how to exercise. The next part of my day is all about, okay, so after I know the information, I go into the event knowing that people coming into CEO Habits Live, they already know what it's like to run a business. These are not people starting their business from scratch. They are not just there. They have a validated offer. They know what they're offering. They're making money already. They know how to do those things. We are not teaching them to ride the bike, how to swim, how to walk. They've got that. The next thing that, but what we are doing on that very first day for every single person in the room is that we're teaching them how to do those things effectively. If you get a bike that's too small for you, a bike that's too big for you, if you wear the wrong shoes when you go for your walk, if you decide that you want to go running when it's raining outside, like what are the things that you are doing that are causing friction in you being able to accomplish the goal? And so for a lot of CEOs, that friction can come from making too many decisions during the day. It can come from having too many people invade your time. It could be the lack of boundaries and walls and rules and standards, because all four of those are different, but they
Mm-hmm.
all involve decision making and protecting your time and setting expectations for other people. And so while they may know how to walk and run and go to swim, they may not understand how to set those habits up in a way and make those decisions in a way and create that momentum in a way that moves their business forward.
Yeah, it's a good point. Listen, just this weekend, it was so interesting. I went to an event and I met with probably 20 to 30 business owners. And it was so interesting because going around the room and meeting everyone, everyone is very educated. They know exactly what they're doing in their industry. And what the questions that really came in were all these little things and the nuances and the little gray areas that we all have. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it was like, well, how do I network? How do I connect with people? How do I, like what are those little things? And you're thinking that they're coming in with, well, how do we triple our business in size? And those
Mm-hmm.
weren't the questions. It were just those little things like you were just mentioning, that actually brings it all together. Because I think that remains in a gray area unless someone brings it out, brings the light, let's talk about it, and then just we all get that aha moment, sort of like, yeah, it's not just me. Everyone else goes through this.
We all do it. Like you don't know the better way until you know that there is a better way. Like
Mm-hmm.
many, like I think salespeople that I've been on calls with before, and like when we do trainings and things, it's like, well, what do you think you know that you might not know? Or what is causing you to believe that there isn't a better way? Do you believe that this is possible for somebody else? Yes. Okay, taken care of. That objection's overcome. Do you believe that it's possible for you? And you, that's where the objection comes in at. And it's like, well, if you don't think that you can do this, what is that gap? Because we know there are people out there making money from networking, like you were saying, from the people in your group. There are people making money from networking. There are people making money from webinars, people making money from podcasts, people making money from newsletters, from email lists. There are people out there who are actually doing it. It comes down to, do you think that you can? And when
Mm-hmm.
it came to momentum and goals and getting to my business, there were times where I just felt I was doing it wrong. Maybe I just wasn't cut out for this. Like people are out here doing this webinar every single week, and they're doing the podcast thing and the newsletter thing, and they're making money and these six-figure things. Although it is a highlight reel, I am well aware. Okay, but they're doing it, whether it's a highlight reel or not. I ain't hit six figures on a newsletter yet, or I ain't hit $1 million opening day, or whatever the thing happens to be. But it's like, well, maybe I'm just not doing it right. And
Mhm.
I download all the free things. So if you're listening to this, it's okay. I was one of them. Okay. I downloaded all the free things, all the free templates, the email templates, the funnel templates, the sales scripts, the email scripts, and all the really fun things to try to make my business work for me. And it was like putting those things in, unlike the friction that we talked about a little bit earlier with knowing, again, how to wear the right shoes, how to go at the right time, it's also using the right tools.
Mm.
Do you want to use a walking stick? Do you need a hat or a visor? What else do you need to help you do this? Because I know for a fact from with my clients, having a funnel is great. If you don't have a nurture sequence, you might just be in the water a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the thing, it's the things that are connected to that thing. And how do you create an environment where you position yourself to reduce that friction? And what I love about CEO habits that we're going to be doing, and that we're focusing on CEO habits, is that we're not focusing on the tools. I would love to talk to you guys 4 days about funnels and nurture sequences and follow-ups and SMS and all the carts and all the things. However, what's so important about what we're doing in January is that it is about humanizing the process. Like you as a business owner, and most of us are solopreneurs. Most of us are people, we are operators. We have been given the gift to create things. And it's an amazing gift. And I love it very, very much. But it does mean that sometimes we find it difficult to take a step back and look not only at the business machine that we've built, but the machine that we've become to run that business.
That's right. So, one thing is, so I want to bring you back because I know we're going to talk a little bit about the engineering momentum for all this, and I love that. But I wanted to bring you back because you said you were downloading all these free stuff, and I think that's smart though. And I'm really glad that people are actually listening to this today.
Mhm.
And remember that we have one next week, Habits That Build Trust, CEO Habits That Builds Trust, next Tuesday at 12:30. And you know what? Come back and keep listening, because if it's one small idea that can change everything, it's totally worth it, right? So
Absolutely.
we're offering that free download, just like Tarletta is usually accustomed to downloading, but that's smart to do. So make sure you do that. But let's go
Yeah.
back to the whole thing of how the whole engineering, the momentum. How,
Hmm.
like, what is that? Like, I know we have to like decide what we're doing. What would be
Right.
your statement from there? What do you think?
So I suffer, like most entrepreneurs, from having way too many ideas and doing way too many things at once. It's a gift and a curse, I'm okay with it. And so I would realize that throughout the day. So for me, it's still okay, it's still an exercise story, but this one's actually more personal. So not riding a bike, because I'm not doing that. But my thing was like, so for example, I wanted to do more yoga. I wanted to meditate. I wanted to like center myself and find a way to kind of get detached from the day and just get grounded.
Nice.
And for months, so I bought a yoga mat with the intention of doing yoga. But I put the mat like in my hallway closet. And so whenever I was like, okay, I've got like 20 minutes, I can do some yoga. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, but my rug's in the closet and I'm not wearing the right clothes and my shoes are in my room and the couch is like right here. And so it's a remote control. I'll just exercise next time. I'll just watch TV, because I also use my TV to watch YouTube
Excuses?
videos, exercise.
Excuses? Is that what that
Yeah,
is? Or
they were friction.
friction.
It was friction that I had introduced into my life. And so much like getting in the habit of running my business, I was like, okay, so one day I sat down with myself and said, okay, I want to do yoga more. I want to do this better. I want to be more consistent. I want to have more
Mhm.
discipline in this process.
Mhm.
And so, okay, how can I make exercising, doing my yoga in the morning less of a burden? Because it
Okay.
felt that way. I had to get the couch, get the yoga mat, bring it to the living room, go change my clothes, get the right shoes, find a pair of socks. I hate wearing socks. And then find the video I'm going to watch and turn the video on and do the video. So all of those are decisions. And my brain was like, no to all. remote control and search till you find what you want to watch. Boom. Two decisions. We're done. See it, do it, done. And so for me, like in that habit structure, it's like, okay, my habit is sit down, get the remote, turn TV on, and find whatever looks good. I'm a rerun person. It wasn't hard to find. And I watch reruns. Why? Because it's one less decision to determine. I know I like the show and I have to worry about, well, is this a drama? What happens next? My brain doesn't have to work. And our brains are inherently lazy. And I love my brain. It's great. It protects me very much from myself. And so, get back to the story of my actual journey, and then we'll bring this back to CEO habits and how it works in our businesses. So for me, my first thing was, hey, my yoga mat's in the hallway closet or my bedroom closet. Okay, take yoga mat out of closet, put it in the place where you are going to exercise. So when you're in the location, which was my living room, the mat's right there in front of you. There is no I have to get up. It's just as close-ish as the remote control or the TV. All right. Well, now I'm still wearing the wrong clothes. I take my kids in the morning. I put on whatever I wore yesterday to get in the car for 10 minutes, and I'm back and I'm in the wrong clothes. Okay. Take out your exercise clothes. If you know you have it on your calendar to do yoga in the morning, wear that stuff when you go take your kids to school. It's usually cleaner than what you had on yesterday, and it's right in your closet. So, because I would also spend like 30 minutes going through my closet to find the perfect workout outfit that never existed. And so it's like, no, wear it before you leave the house. And so if I'm wearing my workout clothes, I need my sneakers. So where are my sneakers and where is the one of 5 pairs of socks that I own? Because I hate wearing socks. Because I have to have socks to go with my shoes. Put those with your workout outfit. All that stuff is together in the morning when you wake up. It's there for you to wear. Okay. So now when I come home, drop my kids off at school, the first thing I want to do is do my yoga. So my mat's already in the living room. My clothes are already on. All I have to do now, and there was one more bit of friction, was which video am I going to watch on YouTube to do this today? And I was like, okay, we need to change this. So I picked 2 channels. I picked one channel for yoga. I picked one channel for actual exercise. And I would decide, okay, today is a yoga day, or these are 10 minutes of meditation, or this is 30 minutes of HIIT. This is 30 minutes of lift. And I would choose that before, like on Monday morning or Sunday night when I planned out my week, because it reduced all of that friction. So I went from avoiding working out because my brain was just like so overloaded to just working out and it being a part of my daily routine and a part of my day because I removed the friction. It looks very similar. Go ahead.
So a couple of things though that I see from there is kind of like we want to remove friction. We want to get into that space, right? Of starting to remove that and limit those. And then at the same time, we want to start getting into the habit of making decisions, of kind of building that muscle of making decisions all the time. So that way we can kind of overcome those frictions. And
well, so we don't want to get in the habit of making decisions all the time. That's not what we want to do. So we want to reduce the number of decisions we have to make. And so we talked about this the other day, so you and I. So I call it chunking. And chunking comes in many different ways. But when it's not part of your offer, part of the PACE theorem, chunking to me is like just taking the 2 hours on Sunday to save you 10 hours throughout the week. Okay. So on Sunday, if I decide, what am I going to have for breakfast for Monday through Friday? What am I going to wear on Monday through Friday? When are my meetings? Can I exercise on Monday morning, or do I need to do meditation because it's less sweaty? When am I going to take my shower? When am I going to pick my kids up? Like, what are the things I have to do during the week to be prepared for? If I know I'm going to be filming content on Thursday, what do I need to do Wednesday night to prepare for that? So take 2 hours on Sunday and I chunk those decisions. So when I go to bed on Sunday night, 1, I'm exhausted, but 2, the rest of my week is already planned.
Okay.
I no longer have any more decisions to make about my personal life. I may have decisions to do with my clients. They may email me and things may change, but my decisions are already done. So I can go throughout my entire week and I don't have to continuously consider, well, when am I going to do this? When am I going to have lunch? What do I eat for lunch? Where do I go for lunch? Am I going to drive for lunch? Am I going to order lunch? Do I answer that email right now? And so for me, when it comes to even in business, I chunk those things. So I don't check my email before 11 o'clock and after 3 o'clock. You got from 11 to 3. And there's just like 2 30-minute pockets that I'm actually checking my email. It is not the entire 4 hours. It's like, nope, maybe for like 10 minutes each at the top of each hour, I will check my email. Anything new came in? Nope. Okay, down. If there are
Right.
continuing conversations that I need to have, I will initiate email at a different time than I respond to email.
Mm.
So for this time, I'm only sending emails I need to send. I am not engaging in conversation. For these 10 minutes, I am sending all my emails. For these 20 minutes, I am responding to emails. That is it.
So, a
Nothing
quick
else.
thing. Let me bring you back though, because you mentioned PACE. So let's talk about PACE. What does it stand for?
All
We
right.
know the
So
C is for chunking.
we'll see is for chunking. So PACE is a way to help you make decisions, but also to help you focus. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prune. So P is for prune. We are pruning our activities. So I use this a lot when I'm working with clients individually for their offers. So it's like if you have like 1,000 offers and you don't know what you're doing, we're going to prune your offers. But for the sake of us humans and CEOs who are running businesses, we want to prune our activities. It's a personal act of pruning. So what are you doing that is either unnecessary or in the wrong space? Like put it in the right place. If you've got roses growing in your daisies, they're in the right place. Put them somewhere else so you can actually manage
Mm.
them appropriately. You're also going to take out, so you're going to take out the things that don't fit and you're going to add in the things that need to be there. So you need to plant, you need to put down
Mm-hmm.
fertilizer, mulch, or whatever the thing is. What are
Mm-hmm.
the activities you need to add and take away? You're going to prune your garden. That is your
Mm-hmm.
brain. Your brain wants you to do this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing you want to do, so my brain totally went All right. So, so we're going to prune and then we're going to automate. There's my brain. Brain came back. So after you prune, you're going to automate. What about your process can you automate? If you're so going with the gardening theory here, you can add in sprinklers. You don't have to go water the garden. It don't care how it get watered, just that it gets watered. So what
Mm.
about your personal habits can you automate? Whether that's meal prepping, it is again deciding what type of exercise you're going to do in the morning, when you're going to do your activities, sending reminders. Like my entire email, I do not take any meeting reminders for all my own software. If I can avoid the meeting reminder, it is not on there. On my calendar, I'll see it. Okay. So automate what you can, whatever you can. Like this is why certain highly influential people wear the same clothes or the same colors every single day because they know, hey, I can just really easily get up, pick it up, put it on, it looks good, and I can go about my day. There
That's my
are
vote. I
so
vote
many
for
fewer
that.
decisions. Right. There's so many fewer decisions to make when I automate my life. If I know like I'm gonna be drinking, like I love lattes. They are my indulgence. I drink 2 of them a day. It is horrible. But I know, hey, I need oat milk and I need this. Am I going to do chai in the morning and honey at night? I'm going to do the other way around. Do I need to go buy tea bags? Whatever the whole thing is. Like, what can we set on automate? Even if it's with your groceries. Like, automate your groceries. It's totally fine. Okay. It's not
Mm-hmm.
weird
Mm-hmm.
anymore. It used to be weird. It's not weird anymore. And so, what can you automate about your life? Whether that's responding to people, delegating tasks, what is there? Find it and do it sooner rather than later. A lot of us like to think that I'm going to wait until I'm actually able to see how it works for myself and I'm going to go find this other person to do it. I promise you spend a hell of a lot more time learning to do something that you're never going to do again. It makes no sense. Give yourself the time by giving away the time,
Mm.
literally.
So that's kind of like how you remove some of those resistance, right?
Right.
Because you're
You're going to remove the
automating
resistance.
it.
You're gonna automate as much as possible. What am I gonna watch on TV? I'm that weird person. I watch reruns, so it's not very hard for me. But like, am I gonna watch TV today? I don't watch TV every day. So what day do I want to watch TV? What day am I gonna go with my kids to the tennis court? What day am I gonna do X, Y, Z? All these things take time. They're all very, very important. And so after you automate, then you get to chunk. So chunking is when you actually take all your activities and you put them into little bundles. So as a human being, typically these it could be a 10-minute chunk, it could be a 30-minute chunk, it could be an hour long chunk. I do a sprint every day for 3.5 hours. And then I have 30 minutes for relaxation and resetting. And then I do my lunch for an hour because those are separate. Lunch is not when you relax, it's a requirement. Okay. And then after I have my lunch, then I work for 2 more hours. And that is my work day. Anything after 4 o'clock, my kids are usually at tennis and I'm usually there with them. So I might do light admin tasks because, again, I have lots of ideas. So I have to find time to get them like out of my head, or I might send some messages. But I'm the kind of person where I even schedule time with my friend. I schedule texting my friends like, hey, this is your text block. Be human and relate to other humans. And so, like, but my friends know if they message me between 11 o'clock, if they send me in anything between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m., I am not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go to brunch, I'm gonna need that like last night.
But I can see how that would be great too, because you're focusing where you are versus
Mhm.
having this, I do a little here, I communicate with just a little bit with this individual. So you never really get the opportunity to connect with the people that you're working with at that moment. So that's
Right.
totally agree with you. Sometimes I've been just putting the phone to the side and not even looking at it until I'm done with that meeting. I'm done with that client because I want to dedicate my whole time, especially if they're working as a coaching session and they want a whole hour. This is their
Right. Yeah, I could not agree with you more. Like I think
Yeah, absolutely. But so now we have PACE, right? So we had the PAC and then we have E.
so. E is to execute. E is to give it to your team. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell everybody that needs to know that this is how you're going to be doing things because while you can't control other people, and again, I could go on a whole rant about proper boundaries, expectations, standards, and rules.
Yeah.
So while you can't always expect people to acknowledge your boundaries, acknowledge your time, acknowledge your chunking, you want to give them the opportunity to respect them. And so if you don't do this, then it's kind of like it's constantly going to come. Like obviously, I can't tell a friend of a business colleague not to email me because they may have the idea then. It's like they're not going to wait to email me. They just know that I may not respond until 1 o'clock, and that's my boundary. I do not
Mm-hmm.
respond until I check my email. But I know if I'm looking at my email every 10 minutes, I can't focus on the task in front of me, and we end up
Mm-hmm.
in this thing called context switching. So my brain is constantly switching because, like, let's
Mm-hmm.
say I'm designing a funnel or a website and I notice that my email is open. I do not work with extra tabs open, by the way, for this particular reason. Because if I have LinkedIn open, I have email open, I have Instagram open, I'm going to see the notification
Guilty.
come across on the top of the screen. And we're like, ooh, what was that? Is that a message? Is it a like? Is it a this? Is it a that? Is it? I'm going to have to know. And so I'm going to stop editing my thing. I'm going to go to the tab. Oh, it just said this. And I'm like, okay, so well, why did they say this? Now I'm like digging into that like ever so slightly, but even just that, now I have to go back to shift my focus back to me actually doing work. Or worst case, I go into an entire rabbit hole about whatever they just liked. Well, where did that conversation come from? What was I
Mm-hmm.
saying? Why did I post that? When did I post
Mm-hmm.
that? Oh, that's a really old post. I should probably read. And like now I'm completely thrown off from the thing I wanted to get done. Whereas if I had just done the thing that I wanted to do, it would be done in a lot shorter period of time. And then I could go back to that comment or that whatever the thing was during my allotted social media time. And I could actually give it also the appreciation and the time that it needs to build on it. Because if I try to do that, if I try to build on it right then, I'm ignoring what I'm doing now. And I'm still in the thought of doing what I was doing now.
Mm-hmm.
My
Mm-hmm.
brain's like, okay, so but then if I don't, the context switch is, oh, I'll just respond later. So I
Mm-hmm.
just took 5 to 10 minutes from my current activity to tell myself I'm not going to do that. I'll do it later to try to get back into the mindset of doing my current activity.
Mm-hmm. And get you
It's a
back on
lot.
track. Right,
It
right.
takes so much. Your brain is like exhausted when you're context switching.
So that's an energy killer, right?
It
That's just
is.
because now you're like your whole energy of everything you had and all that excitement for or that you're working on that project sort of starts
Mm-hmm.
leaking away because now you're sort of just killing that away when you could have just focused and just given it your all.
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think we could do that with work. We could do that in our personal lives. I think that we need to really focus where we are, be right then and there, present, and enjoy that.
100%.
And
I don't know.
that's part of that's a habit, right? That's a habit that
It
we
is
have to
part of a habit. And
develop.
it's like a lot of us, like, we'll give ourselves the excuse, well, it could be an emergency, or it could be important, or it could be urgent. And the thing is, like, to me, look, if it's not burning down, nobody's died, they're not in jail, they're not pregnant, it can wait. Okay. It's got some time. If they were able to send an email and they did not call you 3 times with 2 voicemails, an email, and a snail letter, it can wait until your time to actually handle the activity. Because what ends up
Absolutely.
happening is that the time it takes your brain to switch from an important thing to a more important thing to a less important thing to a completely unrelated thing is all the same amount of time.
Hmm.
Every switch drains you. So the
Hmm.
fewer switches you can have, the more energy you will have. The easier
Hmm.
it is to stay in your habit, the easier it is to have momentum and to create that discipline and to create that frictionless or less frictionful day
Hmm. Hmm.
that you're trying to go
Absolutely.
through. So your environment plays a huge part of this. Your environment
Hmm.
has to be able to help you with this. And so, as I was thinking before, but the problem, like I said, so kind of like when you're tired, the last thing you want to hear is, you can do it. It'll all work out. You're doing a
Yeah.
great job. Like no one wants to hear that when they're like on their ass. Like no one.
Sure.
Okay. And so my next thing comes to you, like when do you find like how do you get yourself back on track once you fell off?
So for me, it's really, it's really important because I live by list. I list absolutely everything out. And it was so funny because one time I was doing a podcast and the podcaster's, interviewing me. And she said, "What is it that you would attribute a lot of your successes that you've had with your other businesses?" And I said, "I make a list and I follow it." And then she asked me another question and she says, "So how were you successful there?" I make a list and I follow it. And basically, I think the whole podcast episode was just me saying, make a list. And that's because I live by that.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps in both ways, right? Not only can you see like the macro things, the big things that you need to be dealing with in your business, but it also has
Mm-hmm.
the little things that you should be doing. And sometimes when I fall off the wagon or on the wagon, I don't know, whichever that is, to get back on the wagon, what I do is I go back to my list and I look at the list, and it's again from big projects to small little tasks. And when I look at it, and it's overwhelming when I look at the top of the list because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to take 2 hours or 3 hours. Or do I really want to call this client at this time because I know that I need to dedicate maybe 2 hours to that project and I only have 10 minutes, but I really want to say X, Y, and Z. Anyways, so you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about all those different things. And usually what happens is we end up doing nothing at all because we're so overwhelmed by that list. So what I've started
Right.
is going back to the list is adding all these little things at the bottom of the list. These are the little micro things, which could be just, calling someone, even like what you were saying earlier about maybe texting a friend at that time. Maybe, this is the time to call a family member. Sometimes I even add those things to my list. So that way I can say, let me go ahead and do that because that's an easy win that can really,
Mm-hmm.
really help.
Yeah, get those easy wins in. Easy wins are awesome. Like the little things that
Yeah.
you know you can control. Like I can tell you, I feel so proud of myself when I make myself lunch. Like I had lunch today. It was so awesome. It was great. Because I do believe in having a system. So the way that I kind of get back on track is one, first, give myself grace. Like
Mm.
if it just so happens that a networking call sneaks into my golden hour, I used to get like really, really frustrated about it because I'm like, wait, my calendar should not have let that come through. Now I got to stop what I'm doing and I can't really get the thing that I want to get done right now. And this thing takes hours, which is why I had this time for this. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, okay, so what could you have done differently? Like, what is the thing we're going to do next time so this doesn't happen? So, first, give myself some grace again, and then just be fully present. If I'm deciding to switch, I tell myself, like I said earlier, if I'm designing something and I get that LinkedIn notification, I might say, like out loud to myself, I'm going to focus on this LinkedIn thing. I will do the Canva thing or the funnel build thing or the design thing. I will do that at this time now. So I'm going to move my social time since my brain is already distracted. I don't want to have to switch two more times because I have to switch back to the design thing and then switch back to social media later. I'm going to stay in the social media lane and I'm going to do my 30 minutes right now since I'm already here. And I'll move this activity somewhere else. And I have to make
Mm-hmm.
that conscious decision to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to feel consistently like guilty that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do what I was supposed to be doing. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also recognizing how often are you doing this? How often are you stopping what you're doing to do something else? And was it something else that you're doing actually planned for today? Like it's like, well, I have to do it
Mm-hmm.
anyway yesterday, or I didn't do it this day before. Like, no, no, no. How often are you accurately depicting your time blocks? How often are you sticking with your time blocks?
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself grace, but hold yourself accountable. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
hard part for some of us. It's like, well, I was going to do it anyway. It's like, well, that's true. But you need to know like what mental state you're going to be in. Like, when do you work best? If you're more creative at night, then do your creative work at night. I'm a morning person. The sun's up, I'm up. And usually by 10 o'clock, if I'm not asleep, I've hit my second window of the day and now I'm up designing anyway. But that's something totally different. But it's just like it's finding ways to get back into it. I use music as a reset. That's why I have a 30-minute break between my huge chunk of 3.5 hours of work with a 30-minute break for me to listen to music. And then I have lunch. And I say that those things are separate. So it's important that I give myself the time to have lunch. And during lunch, I'm not designing things, I'm not answering emails, I'm not calling friends. I get to be present and have lunch. If I'm going out to a restaurant, if I'm going out with friends, if I'm sitting in a co working space, I am able to be present and participatory in those conversations, which is how you start building relationships outside of yourself that don't require you to have your business as that all inclusive, totalitarian dictator of your life as a
Mhm.
CEO, especially when you're growing.
Absolutely. Listen, there are two things that came up now that you were saying a couple of those things, but you said you speak to yourself. So I'm going to just be honest. I do the same thing. And sometimes I'm at the office and I start screaming, focus. And it's really for myself, it's for no one else other than myself, is to bring me back to where I was. Because if I start to notice that I'm just kind of lingering away and I'm not working or I'm
Mhm.
not focusing what I'm doing, somehow focus to myself, I'll get right back on task. And that might be just my thing. I don't know if everybody else is a little strange and they have to do that as well. But, I always thought that I was a strange person for doing that because I've been doing that for years. And, but one time I'm working with a
Like,
business owner and they started to tell me what their thing is, right? And everyone's so different. Everyone has that little thing. And what reminded me of this is because you
mhm.
say you like reruns. And this individual like reruns of a show from the 80s. And what they would do is actually do work while they will watch the reruns of that specific show. And they've been doing this for years, over and over and over and over. But when they're writing agreements, they're dealing with clients and they'll have that in the background because for some reason that helps their flow. And we all
Right.
have something. You got to find whatever that thing is that makes your habits flow.
Right. Like, I am not a silent person. Like, even right now, I have my TV on mute because I need some form of noise. I need visual noise. I need actual
Mhm.
noise. I cannot operate in silence. It is absolutely horrible for me. But I know if I put on music with lyrics in it, I'll just start singing the songs and dancing, and I get no work done at all. But like, yeah, but everybody has their own thing. Like, there are some people who are a little bit more competitive. I don't typically work in huge teams, and so they'll have like a leaderboard or a goal sheet or something that's visually in front of them that says, "Hey, here are your numbers for today. You got to
Mhm.
hit your numbers." Or here's what the top person in the office is doing. You got to beat this person, and
Mhm.
that motivates them to work harder and hustle and get into it, or at least to stay focused on what they're doing right now. And
Mhm.
I tell people all the time, like, if you are someone who does that, it's okay. And I highly recommend having at least like four different versions of that. So if you
Ah,
have one that is like focused on competition, you have one
mhm.
that's focused on your goals, you have one that's focused on your life, and you have one that's focused on your family, if you have a family. And
Mhm.
so, or your social time, I'll say, if it's not your family, your social time. So, me as a person, what motivates me as a person, because what motivates me at work isn't also what motivates me as a person. Like I said, I stop work to go to tennis with my kids. When I'm at tennis, unless by some reason one of my clients has had an emergency, I'm only on my phone because I feel like it. Like, I think this past
Mhm.
Sunday, I purposefully, and I call it doom scrolled. So I was on Facebook Reels on purpose. And honestly, within like 5 swipes, it was full of communication theory and negotiation tactics and dance videos and modeling things. And like, it just changed. Like, my feed was still on business. My brain is typically always there. But I was like, hey, I'm going to doom scroll. I told myself that I'm doom scrolling today. So here I come,
Mhm.
Facebook, because I'm not usually on Facebook like almost ever. But you want to make sure that
Sure.
whatever you're motivating
Sure.
yourself by is not only your job, it's not the outcomes. You want to be able, so even if you're using that to motivate yourself, you want to be able to give yourself credit and hold yourself accountable for the input, whether that's that you made 30 calls today or that you worked out for 30 minutes. Not that somebody else did something, but what did you do that impacted your day? Like, what
Right.
did you that you can control? Because when
Mhm.
you start to look at things that you cannot control, you can't control how many calls they made. I don't know if their dog died. I don't know if they have no family and no life. None of that matters. What matters, especially as a CEO, when you're running a business, that your business is not the most important thing in your life. And I
Mhm.
say this not to be rude or to be like, very abrupt with people, but in business, to be successful, you have to, like, this is just universally, you have to detach yourself from the outcome.
Mhm.
If you are attached to that outcome, then you're going to look at your business's success or failure as your own success or failure, and that's not how that works. Like, it'd be
Mhm.
nice sometimes to be able to do that, but for the most part, I can only control what I did. So if I know, again, this goes back to setting those goals and making yourself accountable. So again, give yourself grace, but hold yourself accountable. If during your time to prospect, your time to build relationships, your time to network, your time to do the work that you do, whatever it happens to be, you find yourself switching and now you're not getting your job done, be honest with yourself. Had I stayed on task, how many more output units would I have done? If I had moved this to the afternoon, how would that have affected my day and my ability to go from here to there? Like, I used to, so Joe, you say like you yell at yourself in the office, like the word focus. For me, I'd have to do, so when I used to work in an office, I don't do offices very often anymore. When I used to, whenever I knew I was unfocused, when I would constantly go into like the co-working kitchenette area and realize that I didn't want anything in it, but I'd check like 4 times today. Like, I would constantly get up, go into the kitchenette, like, you know what? Do I want any of this? No, don't want any of it. Go back to my desk, sit down for a minute. Let's see what's in the kitchen.
So, it's interesting there what you just said, because it is key, right? That you have all these different things that you have to kind of like think about for yourself so you can keep your sanity as a CEO and business owner. And
Mhm.
then also that there are all of these goals and the ways that they're set up, like you had mentioned, of having the top salesperson in the office, and that's on the board. And then there's also another motivator that might be different. So you could have multiple motivators. So
Mhm.
there's really no right or wrong. It's just that we're all very different. But the perspective that I'm looking at it as well, and I think from the profit optimization program, I'm always looking how to optimize something. It would
Of
be
course.
that not only are you doing that, which is exactly what you described personally, but that also as a CEO and a business owner is how you provide that and understand that for your employees and your team members within your business. Because the same way that you have your own frictions and issues and habits that you have to deal with, so does your team as well. And they have to probably find ways to improve their teams and their personal habits so that way your team can be more efficient. So sometimes we just kind of have to look at it that way when you're a business owner and a
Yeah.
CEO, that we all have this and we're all very different. So sometimes the board with the leaderboard might not be what motivates absolutely everybody on the team. You're wondering, why is this top guy not really participating? Well, that might not be what drives them. Maybe what drives them is watching 80s reruns. And that's what drives them. And maybe what we need to do is get them a TV for their office. And maybe that's what's going to work.
I'm just
But
saying
we
naps
have
are life. Naps are great for productivity. Just gonna
for
throw it
some
out
people.
there.
Yeah,
It was my first boundary ever in business. It's great.
so interesting. I had a CEO who actually is from the north, and he said to me that in order to improve, he definitely needed that 20-minute nap mid afternoon. That was a must do. And he said to him, it was like sleeping a full night in those 20 minutes. He reset, and then he would stay in the office till 8 p.m. because to him, it was just like midday and just take a little nap and go back on. So, again, no right or wrong. It's just how do we find what works for you?
I use music. Listen, my 30-minute music session after I've completely fried my brain for 3.5 hours, I do music. And after I do my music and I have my very present lunch, I'm good to work for another few hours or whatever, because I'm a mom. So not all
Yep.
night, can't do that. But I may stay up later that night to get some more things. Like, you know what? I feel good. I feel good about working. I feel like I want to focus on this. It's not requiring my attention, but I want to focus on it. You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm going to schedule, it might be scheduled for tomorrow. And usually for me, who has so many ideas, I can just pick up on things that I wouldn't have scheduled this week. And maybe there are other projects that came up that I really want to dig into, or conversations I want to have with friends. Because now that I have them, I've given myself permission to have that mental space to say, this is my time to do these things. And this is how I want to do these things. But it's very important. Like I said, but it's very important that you don't give up those things due to requirements. You need to make sure you schedule appropriately for those, because we can sometimes convince ourselves that, I'll just work through lunch today, or I'll skip my 30-minute meditation. Like, I'll just skip it today because this is so important. Nothing is that important unless you're talking to an investor. If they have a deadline, send it. But then accountability. You should have done that 2 days ago. Put it out there.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so accountability says there's no reason to ever give up your lunch, to ever give up your rest time. There's no reason to do that unless you did not plan properly. So be accountable to your calendar. Be accountable to yourself. Give yourself that time. And I think that we're going to talk in a few weeks about CEO habits that build trust. And that's with you, your business, and your coworkers. So like I said earlier, that environment, that execute part of PACE is being able to express to them, because your employees will respond to you in a way that you set up your day. If they know that when you have a blue sticky note on your window that it is a do not enter, do not disturb, they'll know. And they'll tell the rest of the new people who come into the office that when that note is up there, we do not knock on the door. We don't peek our heads in. We don't ask about lunch orders. You wait until it comes down. But you have to build those boundaries, those expectations, those standards, and those rules.
Oh, totally agree. So I know we're nearing the end of the hour, and we try to honor everybody's, and be very cognizant of everybody's important time. And thank you very much for everyone who's listening. So next week, or the next session, will be CEO habits that keep you in control. So you can look for that. And what's going to happen is that you can actually find it on the link in the description below. The following one after that, session number 3, will be CEO habits that build trust. So that's the week after that. And if you're watching this at a later time, again, all of these links will be below in descriptions. And then also there will be a link for the event that we're hosting in Tampa, live, in person, in January. And we definitely want everybody to attend. So please make sure that you watch all of them. And if you have any questions, make sure you contact us, either one of us, and we'll be there to answer.
Yes, I will say my last ask for anybody who watches this, I want to know in the comments, like, what is your weird thing you do to focus yourself? Like, do you yell at yourself? Do you talk to yourself? Do you write a note to yourself? Like, what's your thing to get back on track? Because I would love to know.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to it. All right, till the next session. See you then.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.